Welcome to part 3 of a 3-part mini-documentary of the medical mission trip to Haiti. It's time to say our goodbyes on Wednesday, April 14th. We mount our mules for the 3-hour trek back to Lasley, where the trucks await us. We also loaded our belongings and the remaining medicines on the mules. We had a torrential rain and winds the night before, so the path was very treacherous with slippery mud and wet rocks. Even though we sat on pillows, the wooden saddles were very uncomfortable. Mine kept digging into my low back, and my arms were tired from holding on so tight. I also developed blisters on my hands. There were so many times that I thought I was going to fall off my mule, as he did not seem very sure-footed on the path. I was glad for my Haitian guide that kept the mule on track. The journey was breathtaking, and I saw many small circular rainbows along the way. This helped take my mind off the fear that I had of falling off my mule. Again, the Haitians along the way were friendly and welcoming. We recognized some of the patients that we had treated at the clinic in the past few days, and they were all beaming at us. It was joyous. At Lasley, we realized that Father John and Dr. Ilka had done the entire trek on foot. What troopers! We were all impressed. At Lasley, we loaded our trucks and started back down the mountain on unpaved roads to Léogâne. When we got to paved roads, we weren't very far into the trip when we were stuck in traffic because of a mudslide on the road from the heavy rains the night before. UN vehicles were out clearing mud from the road, which set us back about a half an hour. The retainers along the side of the mountain had been weakened by the earthquake, making way for the mudslide from the rains, a foretaste of what is to come during rainy season. Along the way, for as far as the eye could see, there was destruction and people living in tents crammed together wherever they could place them. These pictures do not do justice to how paralyzed the country has become from this act of nature. When we reached Léogâne, we dropped off our extra medicines at St. Croix Hospital and surveyed the area. The city was devastated by the earthquake, and the hospital was severely damaged, with many cracks noted in the structure and utilities not working. Patients waited in the emergency room for medical care that was rendered outside in tents. I was surprised that they sat in the emergency room that did not appear safe. As you can see from the pictures, the hospital suffered significant damage and was not being used to provide care. After surveying the area and dropping off our medical supplies at St. Croix Hospital, we proceeded on our way to Port-au-Prince. Again, all we could see were miles of demolished buildings and homes, and nothing but tent cities. When we arrived at Port-au-Prince, we dropped off our things at Matthew 25 House and took a short rest. It was an incredibly hot day, and we were worn out from the travel. After our rest, Father Ronald drove us around Port-au-Prince so we could explore Ground Zero. For miles on end, you can see the destruction that Haiti suffered. There is still much rubble 3 months after the earthquake, and there have been many aftershocks. It felt as if the earthquake had just occurred yesterday. There did not seem to be much progress in cleaning up the debris, and it will be years before this country is rebuilt. Structures that remain standing are not safe to inhabit. Many are not even safe to pass by because they have slabs of cement hanging perilously in the air. People are living in tents along the side of the road and even in the middle of the street. There is also much trash everywhere. People are scrambling everywhere to make a living as sidewalk vendors. It is a very heart-wrenching scene, but amid all the tragedy, there are signs of God's presence. We saw several crucifixes and parts of church structures still standing. We saw many aid groups providing food, tents, and medical care. Hope was in the air. We ended our tour of Port-au-Prince by stopping at a Domino's Pizza for dinner, an oasis in the middle of chaos. We then headed back to Matthew 25 House for the night. Thursday morning, April 15th, after breakfast, Alex and I served milk to the children staying at Matthew 25 House. Our group then took some final pictures with Father Renal and members of Matthew 25 House, and then we headed to the airport. What a memorable trip this was!